Ethan Voss leaned back in his chair, staring at the hollow screen that floated before him. Rows of planets, moons and asteroids spun slowly, each with a tiny price tag blinking beside it. Most were expensive, hundreds of credits, even thousands, but one listing made him pause. Dead planet? 25 cents. He blinked. 25 cents. That was barely enough for a cup of synth coffee. The description said it was barren, lifeless, abandoned for centuries and considered useless. Most traders ignored listings like this. But Ethan didn't. Something about it made him curious. Maybe it was the thrill of owning a planet for almost nothing. Maybe it was the challenge. Or maybe it was just pure luck. He tapped the buy button before thinking twice. The confirmation blinked on the screen. Purchase complete. Ownership transferred. Ethan grinned. A planet, his planet, for less than the cost of a snack. The ship's engines hummed as he set course for the dead world. Outside the viewport, stars stretched into lines as he jumped into faster-than-light travel. His excitement built with every passing light year. He imagined deserts stretching endlessly, abandoned cities full of secrets, and perhaps technology left behind by those who once tried to tame this forgotten world. When he arrived, the planet was exactly as described, desolate and quiet. Dust swirled in the thin, gray atmosphere. Rocky plains stretched to the horizon, broken only by the ruins of strange, angular buildings. There was no life. Not a bird, not a plant, not even a hint of movement. The silence was complete, almost too complete. Ethan landed his small scout ship near what looked like the ruins of a city. The metal hull of his craft reflected the dull sunlight as he stepped out, feeling the crunch of dry soil beneath his boots. The air was thin but breathable, filtered through his mask. He walked through streets once alive with beings he would never know. Signs and alien scripts hung on broken walls. Statues with missing heads stared blankly into the sky. It felt eerie, but it also felt inviting. "This is amazing," he whispered to himself. "No one else around. All mine." He explored building after building, finding old terminals and machines frozen in time. Some flickered weakly when he touched them, as if trying to remember the hands that once used them. Logs and recordings appeared on some of the screens, but most were damaged or incomplete. Every entry told the same story. Explorers, traders, or scientists had come here before him. They had tried to understand the planet, to claim its resources, to use it. And then they disappeared. Ethan paused at one terminal. The last message was clear, written in a shaky, almost desperate code. "Do not disturb what sleeps beneath." He frowned. "Beneath what?" he muttered. For a moment, the thrill of discovery clashed with a spark of fear. But he shrugged it off. Every planet had warnings. Every mission had risks. He had come here to explore, not to worry about ghost stories left by those too cautious to continue. As the sun dipped below jagged mountains, Ethan set up his camp. A small dome rose beside his ship, powered by portable generators. He unpacked supplies, checked systems, and stared out at the empty cityscape. The wind whispered over cracked streets, stirring dust into small clouds. Shadows grew longer, and the planet seemed even quieter than before. Ethan couldn't help but feel a little thrill of triumph. He had paid almost nothing for this entire world. A world of secrets. A world of possibilities. The thought made his chest tighten with excitement. He imagined discovering forgotten technology, ancient alien devices, or knowledge no human had ever seen. Maybe he could even claim the planet for himself, the first human to tame a world considered dead. Night fell and the stars burned brightly in the clear sky. The twin moons of the planet hung low, casting pale light over the ruins. Ethan lay in his small bed within the dome, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the journey ahead. He knew the planet would be difficult, mysterious, and perhaps dangerous. But that was part of the adventure. That was why he had bought it. And deep in the shadows of the city, something stirred. A hum, soft and almost inaudible, vibrated beneath the ground. Ethan didn't notice it. He was too busy imagining the endless possibilities. For the first human to claim a dead planet, the story was just beginning. Ethan woke to a strange feeling, like the planet itself was watching him. The first rays of pale sunlight crept over the jagged mountains, illuminating the ruins in a soft, eerie glow. He rubbed his eyes and stretched, eager to explore more. Yesterday had been exciting, but he knew there was more to uncover. He packed his small backpack with tools, sensors, and a portable scanner, and stepped out into the cold morning. The ground crunched beneath his boots, dry and brittle. He moved toward the center of the abandoned city, following streets that twisted and turned like veins. Broken buildings loomed on either side, their windows dark and empty, doors hanging loosely on rusty hinges. Every step echoed in the silence. As he explored, Ethan noticed something odd. Some of the alien structures emitted faint pulses of energy, too regular to be natural. He knelt and pointed his scanner at a tall obelisk in the distance. The device beeped faintly, showing patterns he didn't fully understand. The energy was weak but persistent, like a heartbeat from deep within the planet. "This is strange," he muttered, crouching beside the obelisk. He brushed off centuries of dust to reveal alien markings carved into the stone. His fingers traced the strange symbols. They were unlike anything he had studied before, yet they seemed purposeful, almost like a message left behind for anyone brave enough to find it. Ethan's curiosity grew. He moved deeper into the city, the energy signals growing stronger with every step. He noticed that some buildings had collapsed into strange shapes, forming tunnels that led underground. The air became cooler as he descended, carrying a faint metallic smell. It was unsettling but also exciting. In one of the tunnels he found a chamber filled with alien machinery. Huge devices lined the walls, covered in dust and cobwebs. Screens flickered weakly when he touched them, showing fragmented images of previous visitors. Some were explorers like him, others were scientists or traders. Their faces were pale, eyes wide with fear. Most of the recordings ended abruptly, leaving only static behind. He pressed a button on one terminal and a shaky message played. "Do not wake it," the voice whispered, trembling. Ethan's heart skipped a beat. He looked around the room, half expecting someone to appear from the shadows. But he was alone. Ethan shook his head. "Warnings are everywhere," he muttered. "Everyone gets scared. I won't be one of them." He continued his exploration, using the scanner to follow the energy signals. The device led him to a massive circular door at the end of a long corridor. It was made of unknown metal, smooth and cold, with symbols glowing faintly in the dim light. The hum of energy was strongest here, vibrating through the floor beneath his boots. Ethan examined the door, looking for a way to open it. Small panels lined the edges, and he noticed a pattern in the symbols. He touched them carefully, pressing in sequence. The door rumbled and slowly began to slide open, revealing a dark tunnel leading down into the planet's interior. He paused at the entrance, feeling a mix of excitement and fear. The tunnel was wide enough for him to walk, but the darkness inside seemed alive. He switched on his helmet light and stepped inside. The walls shimmered faintly as if reacting to his presence. The hum of energy grew louder, resonating in his chest. The tunnel twisted and turned, leading him deeper than he had imagined. Strange machines lined the walls, some dormant, some flickering to life as he passed. Occasionally he glimpsed alien symbols carved into the walls, glowing faintly. The air grew heavier, almost electric, and Ethan realized that whatever was here, it was not just machines, it was intelligence. Something alive, something ancient, sleeping beneath the surface. Finally he reached a massive chamber. The ceiling disappeared into shadows above, and at the center, a pulsing orb of energy hovered, suspended in the air. It radiated light and warmth, and the hum was deafening now. Ethan stepped closer, scanning it with his device. The orb responded, changing color and pattern as if recognizing him. This is incredible," he whispered, awe and fear mixing in his voice. He realized that the orb was the source of the planet's energy, the reason previous owners had vanished. It was alive, aware, and powerful beyond anything he had imagined. For a moment, Ethan felt small, insignificant in the presence of something so ancient. But then a thrill ran through him. He was human. Curious, brave, and clever. He had come here for adventure and discovery, and now he had found it. The orb pulsed again, almost like a heartbeat. Ethan took a deep breath and stepped closer. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said aloud. "I just want to understand." The energy shifted, responding to his words, and for the first time Ethan felt a connection. The planet was not empty. It was waiting. And he had just begun to uncover its secrets. Outside, the twin moons of the dead planet rose in the sky, casting pale light over the ruins. Inside, the hum continued, steady and alive. Ethan smiled, knowing this was only the beginning of an adventure unlike any other. For the first human to truly explore this forgotten world, the story had only just begun. Ethan had barely slept. His mind was buzzing with the discoveries from the previous day. The orb, pulsing deep beneath the planet, had changed everything. He packed his equipment quickly and made his way back to the massive chamber. The tunnel leading down seemed less intimidating now, as if the planet itself recognized his presence and allowed him passage. The closer he got, the more he noticed subtle changes. Small machines along the walls began to hum softly, lights flickering in patterns that almost resembled writing. Ethan scanned them with his device, trying to understand. The readings were strange, energy levels far beyond anything he had ever seen, and a rhythm that felt deliberate. Someone, or something, was orchestrating it. At the center of the chamber, the orb floated silently, radiating a soft, warm glow. Ethan approached cautiously, careful not to touch it too quickly. He felt a tingling sensation in his fingers, a current of energy that made his hair stand on end. The orb pulsed faster as he stepped closer, and a strange voice echoed in his mind, not with words but as images and feelings. It was intelligence, ancient and vast, and it was awake. Ethan's heart raced. He stepped back slightly, trying to collect himself. I'm human, he whispered aloud. I mean no harm. I just want to understand. The orb's light shifted, swirling faster, almost as if considering his words. Then the voice, this time clearer, spoke in a rhythm he could comprehend. Curious human, brave or foolish, why have you come? Ethan swallowed hard. He wasn't used to talking to sentient energy, but he knew he had to answer. I came to explore. To see what this world holds. I didn't believe it was really alive. Many have come. Many sought. Many fell. All feared what lies beneath. Why should you be different? Ethan hesitated. He had read the logs of the previous owners, scientists, traders, explorers, all gone lost to the planet. But he knew humans had something unique. Curiosity paired with persistence, creativity, and courage. I don't know if I'm different, he said honestly. But I will try to understand, and I will not exploit or destroy what I find. The orb pulsed slowly, almost like a heartbeat. Ethan felt a wave of energy wash over him, images flooding his mind, visions of past visitors, their failures and their fear. But also glimpses of the planet's purpose, its power and its secrets. It wasn't evil, it was guarding something, waiting for someone capable of proving themselves. Ethan stepped closer, letting his hands hover near the orb without touching it. He felt a connection forming, a subtle understanding passing between them. The intelligence wanted to test him to see if he was worthy of the planet's secrets. And for the first time Ethan realized what the previous owners had failed to do. They had only sought power. He sought understanding. Your mind, flexible. Your intentions, clear. But strength is required. Courage, creativity, and wisdom. Only then may you proceed. Ethan nodded, determination growing. He had faced challenges before. Trading in dangerous sectors, surviving storms on uninhabited moons, but this was different. This was not just survival, it was a test of the human mind, spirit, and heart. The chamber changed subtly, walls shifting, machines whirring to life. Paths opened that had not existed before, corridors filled with alien devices and panels. Each step he took, the orb seemed to guide him, showing symbols and patterns he had to interpret. Sometimes the symbols moved too fast, almost teasing him, but Ethan kept his focus. He worked slowly, logically, testing his understanding, trying to connect with the planet's ancient intelligence. Hours passed. The planet outside darkened as twin moons cast silver light over the ruins. Ethan was exhausted, but he did not stop. He had to prove himself not just to the orb but to himself. His human instincts, curiosity, resilience, and imagination guided him through the tests. Some were puzzles, others were simulations, challenges that required him to adapt quickly. Every failure taught him something, every success built his confidence. Finally he reached a room unlike any other, a central hub where the pulse of the planet was strongest. Machines floated in the air, lights weaving patterns in a silent rhythm. The orb hovered above, its glow steady and welcoming now. Ethan knew he had succeeded, at least in part. He had faced the challenges, understood the patterns, and maintained his humanity without letting greed or fear control him. You have endured, you have learned, you are ready, the orb's voice said, calm and approving. Ethan felt a rush of relief and awe. He realized that humans were not merely creatures of flesh and instinct. They were capable of understanding, creating, and mastering what others could not. This planet, this intelligence had recognized that in him. He sat on the edge of the central hub, catching his breath, staring at the glowing orb. Outside, the dead planet remained quiet, still appearing lifeless to anyone else. But Ethan knew the truth now. Life, intelligence, and power lay beneath the surface, waiting for the right human to awaken it. And he had awakened it. For the first time, Ethan understood the magnitude of what he had discovered. This was more than a dead planet. It was a living, thinking world. And humanity had claimed its first place among the stars, not by force but by curiosity, courage, and the drive to understand. The adventure was far from over. The challenges ahead would be greater, the secrets deeper, but Ethan smiled. Humans were ready. Humans could rise where others had fallen. And this planet, mysterious and ancient, was his proving ground. Ethan felt the weight of the planet pressing in on him, not physically but in the sense of responsibility. The orb, now steady and calm, hovered before him, pulsating with quiet authority. It seemed to study him as if measuring not just his intelligence but the core of his being. Every instinct, every thought, every choice he had made to reach this point had been observed. "You have endured the tests," the voice said, echoing softly in his mind. "You have proven understanding, courage, and creativity. Yet the ultimate choice remains. Will you take what lies here for yourself, or will you serve as protector?" Ethan frowned. He had anticipated challenges, puzzles, and tests of intelligence, but not this. The stakes suddenly became tangible, real. The planet's secrets could grant unimaginable power. Any human with less restraint might be tempted to seize it all, to exploit it, to become a ruler of an entire world. He understood why previous owners had vanished. The planet's intelligence could sense greed, fear, or arrogance, and it rejected those who failed to demonstrate wisdom. He walked slowly through the central hub, letting his eyes take in the alien machinery. The room was alive with patterns of energy that seemed to respond to his presence. Panels of light shifted, showing faint images of the past explorers. Each one had faltered. Each one had reached for control instead of understanding. Ethan felt a shiver of respect. This was not just a planet, it was a test of humanity itself. "The choice is yours," the orb continued. "Take the power and leave or embrace responsibility. Know that either path will shape not just you but your species." Ethan swallowed hard. He thought of humanity, fragile yet curious, capable of great ingenuity and compassion. Humans had always explored the unknown, sometimes recklessly, sometimes wisely. The planet offered him a chance to rise above the recklessness, to show that humans could understand and protect what they did not fully comprehend. He realized that taking the power for personal gain would only repeat the mistakes of those before him. He stepped closer to the orb. "I want to learn. I want to protect this world and understand it. Not to use it, but to preserve it and grow from it." His voice was steady, though his heart raced. The orb pulsed in response, brighter now, as if acknowledging his answer. Energy rippled across the chamber, showing visions of potential futures. One path displayed a human empire ruling the planet with force, but the energy faltered, unstable and chaotic. Another path showed humanity learning, growing, and mastering knowledge responsibly. The latter shimmered with balance, light, and promise. Ethan felt the connection deepen. The orb revealed the history of the planet itself. It was once a hub of a vast civilization, now long gone, destroyed not by enemies but by misuse of its own power. The intelligence had survived, hidden, testing others, hoping to find a being capable of handling its legacy. Ethan understood now why the previous owners disappeared. They were not killed, not punished, but filtered out, unable to pass the moral and intellectual trials the planet demanded. "I understand," he whispered. "I can't take what I'm not ready for. But I can learn and help others understand too." The orb responded with warmth, an energy wave washing over him. It revealed access to archives, technology, and knowledge beyond human comprehension. Devices hummed to life, panels glowed with alien scripts that now seemed readable, patterns aligning with his mind. Ethan realized he was being granted stewardship, not ownership in the usual sense but a partnership. He would be the human capable of guiding this world, a bridge between its ancient intelligence and humanity. Days passed as Ethan explored the chamber, learning how the planet functioned. He discovered energy sources, communication networks, and systems capable of sustaining life, even terraforming if humans chose to inhabit the surface. Each revelation deepened his respect for the intelligence and for the responsibility it entrusted to him. He realized the planet's trials had been not just about knowledge or courage, but about understanding human potential. The orb tested whether humanity could rise to the occasion, proving that they could be more than selfish conquerors. Ethan felt pride in himself, but also in what humans could become when they embraced wisdom over greed. By the time the twin moons rose over the barren surface outside, Ethan had made his choice. He would not exploit the planet for profit. He would serve as a steward, learn its secrets, and prepare humanity to interact with it responsibly. The planet had given him an opportunity few could ever dream of, and he would honor it. "You have chosen wisely," the orb said softly. "You are human. You have passed." Ethan stepped outside the chamber, the air cool and dry. The ruins stretched before him, silent yet alive in ways no other human had witnessed. He looked up at the stars and felt a connection not just to this planet, but to humanity as a species. Humans could be clever, persistent, and compassionate. They could rise to challenges no one else dared face. He smiled. The adventure had only just begun. The planet held countless secrets, but he had made the first step, the step of understanding and choice. Humans were capable of greatness, not through domination but through respect, intelligence, and courage. And Ethan Voss would prove it. Ethan stepped out of the underground chamber, the hum of the orb still echoing faintly in his mind. The barren surface of the planet stretched endlessly before him, but it no longer felt empty. Every rock, every ruined building, every shadow seemed to pulse with life beneath the surface. He had been tested, challenged, and had made his choice. Now it was time to see the fruits of that choice. The first thing he noticed was the subtle shift in the ruins. Machines that had been dormant for centuries now glimmered faintly, reacting to his presence. Panels flickered to life, revealing maps, schematics, and archives. Ethan wandered through them, absorbing information that would have overwhelmed any ordinary mind. But he was no ordinary human. He had proven his ability to understand, adapt, and act with wisdom. He began experimenting with the systems. Energy conduits hummed under his hands, powering devices that had been silent for ages. Some of the alien machinery seemed to respond to his thoughts, moving or adjusting as if acknowledging him as a worthy partner. He realized he could interact with the planet's intelligence, not as a visitor but as a steward. Days passed, though time felt strange in the quiet vastness of the dead world. Ethan learned to harness the planet's energy safely, repairing old systems and activating dormant technologies. Holographic displays showed him simulations of the planet's past, its cities bustling with life, alien beings communicating, technology far beyond human comprehension. He marveled at what had been lost and understood the weight of responsibility resting on his shoulders. He also discovered that the planet contained hidden caches of advanced tools, capable of reshaping the environment, storing energy, and even sustaining life. If misused, these devices could cause destruction on a massive scale. But Ethan's careful and thoughtful approach ensured that the systems responded to him with trust rather than alarm. Every experiment he conducted strengthened the bond between human and planet. One evening, while observing the twin moons rising over the horizon, Ethan reflected on what he had learned. The orb had not only tested his intelligence and courage but had also sought to teach him humility, patience, and foresight. Humanity, he realized, was capable of great achievements, but only if it chose understanding over greed, compassion over selfishness. He felt proud, not just of himself, but of what humans could accomplish when they embraced their potential fully. The next step was to explore the surface more boldly. Ethan ventured into the heart of the ruined cities, guided by faint energy signatures. He discovered parks, amphitheaters, and libraries long abandoned. Though the structures were silent, they radiated a sense of purpose and history. Ancient technology was hidden beneath layers of dust, waiting for someone capable of comprehending it. He carefully documented everything, knowing that knowledge was more valuable than immediate gain. Weeks later, Ethan encountered another surprise: dormant drones, seemingly inert for centuries, now activating as he approached. They hovered silently, scanning him, then retreated when they recognized his authority. He realized the planet had allies of its own, automated guardians programmed to protect its secrets. With his intelligence, resourcefulness, and patience, he had gained their trust. As he continued exploring, the orb guided him to a vast control center at the planet's core. From here, he could access systems across the entire world: weather, energy distribution, and environmental controls. Ethan experimented carefully, learning to harmonize with the planet rather than dominate it. Every success reinforced his understanding that humans were capable of mastering the unknown, not through force, but through intelligence, creativity, and respect. The climax came when the orb presented him with a final vision: a simulation of the galaxy showing how the knowledge of this planet could benefit humanity. There were choices: hoard the technology, exploit it for power, or share it responsibly to advance civilization. Ethan's mind raced, but his heart was clear. He chose to preserve, protect, and teach. The planet's intelligence responded with approval, pulsing brighter than ever before. From that moment on, Ethan's relationship with the planet changed. He was no longer merely a visitor. He was a partner, a steward, and a bridge between human ingenuity and alien wisdom. The planet, once considered dead, now thrummed with cautious vitality, guided by the careful hands of a human who understood responsibility. Ethan transmitted reports back to human authorities, carefully revealing only what was safe and necessary. He documented the planet's secrets, technology, and archives, preparing humanity to learn from it rather than exploit it. News of his discoveries spread slowly, stirring excitement across the stars. Humanity began to see that they were capable of greatness, capable of rising to challenges no one else dared face. On the surface, as the twin moons reflected in the shallow pools of the abandoned city, Ethan looked up at the stars. The planet had tested him, but he had risen to meet the challenge. He understood now that humans were more than explorers, they were learners, thinkers, and creators. They could inherit not only the stars but also the wisdom of worlds that had survived eons. The dead planet, purchased for just 25 cents, was now alive in a new way. Not through brute force but through partnership, understanding, and careful stewardship. Ethan had proven that humanity could rise above the mistakes of the past, mastering challenges with courage, intelligence, and empathy. And so, the planet, once abandoned and feared, became a symbol of what humans could achieve when they faced the unknown with wisdom rather than greed. Ethan smiled, knowing that the true adventure had only just begun, and humanity had finally proven it was ready.